Life. It's a battleground. Every day, you wake up and step into the war zone. A war against doubt, against fear, against the voices in your head that tell you to quit. This war isn't fought with swords or guns. No, this war is fought with something far more powerful. Your mind. Because in the end, it's not the strongest who survive. It's not the fastest. Or the most talented. It's the ones who master their mindset. The ones who understand that the mind is their armor, their weapon, their shield against the chaos of this world. And let me tell you this, if your mind is weak, you're already defeated. You see, people walk around thinking the enemy is out there somewhere. They think it's the competition, the circumstances, the odds stacked against them. But the real enemy? It's inside. It's the part of you that hesitates, the part that's afraid, the part that whispers, you can't. That's the enemy. And every single day, you've got to fight it. Because if you don't, it'll own you. It'll take your dreams, your ambition, your fire, and crush them under its weight. But here's the thing. They don't teach you this in school, do they? They don't tell you that the greatest battles you'll ever face won't be out there. They'll be in here, in your mind. They don't tell you that the most powerful weapon you'll ever have isn't in your hands. It's in your head. But you know it now. And now that you know, there's no excuse. No excuse to let that voice of doubt win. No excuse to let fear control you. No excuse to sit back and play small when you've got a fire burning inside you to do something bigger. Because let me tell you this, mindset isn't just important, it's everything. A weak mind breaks under pressure. It folds when the stakes are high, when the weight gets heavy. But a strong mind? It thrives in the chaos. It adapts. It pushes through the pain, through the fear, through the noise of the world screaming at you to give up. And you're going to build that strong mind. You're going to make it your armor. Because the world isn't going to hand you what you want. It's going to test you. It's going to throw obstacles in your way, knock you down, make you question yourself. And when that happens, when the storm hits, the only thing that will keep you standing is your mindset. So how do you build it? You start by silencing the lies, the ones that say you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. The lies that tell you to stay in your comfort zone, to play it safe, to settle for less. You replace those lies with the truth. And the truth is, you're capable of more than you think. You've got the strength, the grit, the determination to push through anything. But only if you choose to believe it. Because belief, that's where it all starts. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. If you don't believe you can do it, you'll never even try. So you make the choice, right here, right now. You choose to believe. And then you back that belief with action. Because belief without action is nothing. You can tell yourself you're strong, tell yourself you're capable, tell yourself you've got what it takes. But if you don't prove it to yourself, every single day, it's just words. So you act. You get up when you don't feel like it. You push yourself when it hurts. You keep going when every part of you wants to stop. Because every time you do, you're telling your mind, I'm in control. Not fear, not doubt, not weakness. Me. And over time you start to feel it. You start to feel that armor growing around you. Every battle you face, every obstacle you overcome, every moment you refuse to quit, it's like adding another layer to that armor. And one day you'll look back and realize something incredible. The things that used to scare you, the things that used to break you, the things that used to make you question yourself, they don't touch you anymore. Because you've built something stronger than fear. You've built resilience. And that resilience, that's what separates the winners from the losers. The dreamers from the doers. The ones who survive from the ones who thrive. So you keep building. You keep pushing. You keep proving to yourself that you're stronger than the doubts, the fears, the excuses. Because every time you do, you're sharpening your weapon, strengthening your armor, preparing yourself for whatever the world throws your way. And trust me, the world will throw everything at you. It'll test you in ways you never saw coming. It'll knock you down, drag you through the mud, make you feel like giving up, but you won't, because you've built a mindset that doesn't break, a mindset that doesn't quit, a mindset that turns pain into power, failure into fuel, fear into focus. And that mindset, it'll take you places you never thought you could go. It'll help you achieve things you never thought you could achieve. Because once you've mastered your mind, there's nothing you can't do. So the question isn't whether you're capable. The question is, how bad do you want it? Because if you want it bad enough, if you're willing to fight for it, sacrifice for it, bleed for it, then nothing can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not the voices in your head that tell you to quit, because you'll have something they can't touch. You'll have your armor, so wear it with pride. And when the world tries to break you, when the storm hits, when the weight feels like too much, stand tall, stand strong, and remind yourself that you've faced worse. You've battled the doubt, the fear, the pain, and you've won. Because mindset isn't just your armor, it's your power. And with that power, there's nothing you can't conquer. Now go, prove it. You've heard it said before, haven't you? That it's all in your head. And maybe at some point you scoffed at the idea, dismissed it as cliche, as empty words meant to inspire but lacking any real weight. But now you understand. Now you see that every step forward, every fight you've won, every battle you've endured, it all began and ended in your mind. Your thoughts shape your reality. Your focus determines your direction and your ability to control what goes on in that space between your ears. That's the difference between being a victim of your circumstances and being the master of your fate. The world isn't going to stop and wait for you to catch your breath. It's going to keep moving, keep pushing, keep testing you. And the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your ability to push back harder. End of question. That's the reality no one wants to hear. That no matter how much talent you have, no matter how many resources are at your disposal, no matter how many people cheer you on, none of it matters if your mind isn't right. Because talent fades, resources run out, people stop clapping when the lights dim. But the one constant, the one thing that stays with you through it all, is your mindset. It's your armor when the world gets rough. It's your weapon when the fight gets dirty. It's your sanctuary when everything else falls apart. And the best part? It's entirely in your control. No one can take it from you. No one can break it unless you let them. But here's the hard truth. Most people don't realize they're the ones handing over the keys to their mind. They let fear drive their decisions. They let doubt dictate their actions. They let the opinions of others shape their identity. And in doing so, they become prisoners in a cage they built themselves. But not you. You're different. Because you've come to understand something most people never will. That freedom doesn't come from the outside. It's not something you find. It's something you create. And it starts in your mind. Freedom is the ability to think for yourself, to make your own choices, to stand firm in who you are and what you want, no matter how loud the world tries to tell you otherwise. It's the strength to say, I won't be defined by my past. I won't be limited by my fears. I won't be held back by anyone or anything. But that strength doesn't come easy. It's not handed to you. It's earned, forged in the fires of pain, struggle, and sacrifice. And every time you push through, every time you choose to keep going, when it would be easier to quit, you're strengthening that freedom. You're fortifying your mind. You're becoming the person who can't be broken. Because make no mistake, the world will try to break you. It'll test your limits. It'll exploit your weaknesses. It'll find every crack in your armor and hammer away at it until you feel like you can't take another hit. But that's when you remind yourself of who you are. You remind yourself that you're not just anyone. You're someone who's built their armor, layer by layer, through every battle you've fought and every challenge you've faced. You're someone who's learned to turn pain into power, fear into focus, and failure into fuel. You're someone who doesn't just survive the storm, you thrive in it. Because you've trained your mind to see obstacles not as barriers, but as stepping stones. You've trained your mind to see failure not as the end, but as the beginning of something greater. You've trained your mind to see every setback, every challenge, every moment of doubt as an opportunity to grow stronger, sharper, more unshakable. And that's why you can't lose. Not because life gets easier, it doesn't. Not because the challenges disappear, they won't. But because you've built the mental armor to face anything that comes your way. And when you have that, when your mindset is your greatest strength, there's no limit to what you can achieve. You become unstoppable. Not because you're invincible, but because you've embraced the fact that you don't need to be. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. One step at a time. One battle at a time. One day at a time. And as you do, you'll find that the things that once seemed impossible start to feel within reach. The dreams that once felt out of touch begin to take shape. And the person you always knew you could be, the person you've been fighting to become, starts staring back at you in the mirror. So don't stop now. Don't let the weight of the world crush you. Don't let the doubts, the fears, the failures hold you back. Because you've got something most people will never have: the courage to fight for what you want, the discipline to keep going when it hurts, and the mindset to turn every struggle into strength. And that, my friend, is your greatest weapon. That is your armor. And as long as you have it, as long as you keep sharpening it, there's nothing you can't face, nothing you can't conquer, nothing you can't achieve. So wear it proudly. Walk into the battlefield of life with your head held high and your mind unshakable. Because this world belongs to those who refuse to give up. And you've already proven that you're one of them. Now go out there and claim what's yours. The world is waiting, and you're ready. And when you step out there, understand one thing: the world won't hand you anything. It's not built to be kind. It's not built to be fair. It's built to test you, to push you, to see how far you're willing to go for what you want. That's the reality. No shortcuts, no favors, no easy paths. You'll bleed for it. You'll sweat for it. You'll cry for it. But those who are willing to embrace that reality, who are willing to walk through the fire despite the pain, despite the fear, those are the ones who rise. Because here's the truth: life isn't about what you're given. It's about what you take. It's about what you fight for. And that fight, it doesn't start with your hands, with your body, or even with your heart. It starts with your mind. Your greatest battles, your hardest fights, will always be fought in the silence of your own thoughts, when no one is watching, when the doubts creep in, when the world feels like it's closing in around you. In those moments, you have two choices. You can let the weight crush you, let the fear consume you, let the doubt win, or you can stand up and fight, not with brute strength, but with the kind of mental toughness that refuses to break, the kind of toughness that doesn't flinch in the face of adversity, the kind of toughness that looks fear in the eye and says, "Not today." Because fear is a liar. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you're not enough, that you're not ready, that you'll fail. But here's the thing: fear only has power if you give it power. The moment you choose to stand against it, the moment you decide to move forward despite it, it loses its grip. And every step you take in the face of fear makes you stronger. Every moment you refuse to back down makes your armor thicker. That's the power of mindset. It's not just about thinking positive. It's about resilience. It's about grit. It's about knowing deep down that no matter how hard it gets, you're harder. No matter how tough the world is, you're tougher. And no matter how many times you fall, you'll always get back up. That's what separates those who achieve from those who don't. Not talent, not luck, not even hard work alone, but the mindset to keep pushing forward when everything in you wants to stop. Because the truth is, you will fall. You will fail. You will have days when you question everything. That's life. But failure isn't the end, it's the beginning. It's the spark that ignites growth. It's the test that forges strength. It's the lesson that builds wisdom. And every time you fail, every time you stumble, you're given a choice to stay down or to rise stronger. And the ones who rise, they're not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to let failure define them. So you keep rising, you keep fighting, you keep building that unshakable mindset, one battle at a time, one step at a time. And as you do, you'll start to see the world differently. You'll stop seeing obstacles as things that block your path and start seeing them as opportunities to prove yourself. You'll stop fearing the struggle and start welcoming it, because you'll know that every struggle is a chance to grow stronger. And that's the thing about mindset, it's contagious. When you walk into a room with unshakable confidence, when you carry yourself with the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth, people notice, they feel it. And suddenly, the world starts to bend to you. Opportunities appear where there were none, doors open that were once closed. Not because the world has changed, but because you've changed. That's the power of mastering your mind. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about creating a life that's not just lived, but lived on your terms. A life where you're not at the mercy of your circumstances, but in control of them. A life where you don't just exist, but you dominate. And domination doesn't mean crushing others. It doesn't mean standing on top of the world while everyone else suffers. It means mastering yourself. It means conquering the only thing you've ever truly had control over, your mind. It means waking up every day with the determination to be better than you were yesterday, to push harder, to go further, to live fully. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Not the money, not the fame, not the approval of others. Those things come and go. But the person you become in the process, that's what lasts. That's what matters. So you make a choice, right now, to stop letting the world dictate who you are and what you can do. To stop listening to the doubts, the fears, the negativity that tries to hold you back. To stop settling for less than what you're capable of. You make a choice to take control, to own your mind, to make it your greatest weapon, your strongest armor, your most valuable asset. And when you do, when you fully embrace that power, you'll find that there's nothing you can't face. Because the world doesn't break those who refuse to break themselves. It doesn't defeat those who've already decided they can't be defeated. And it doesn't stop those who've made up their minds to keep going, no matter what. So what's it going to be? Are you going to let the world shape you, or are you going to shape the world? Are you going to be a victim of your circumstances? Or are you going to rise above them? Are you going to let fear and doubt control you? Or are you going to take control of them? The choice is yours. It always has been. Now go out there and show the world what happens when someone refuses to quit. And when you step back into the fight, remember this: it's not the strongest who win. It's not the fastest. It's not the ones with the most resources, the most connections, or the most luck. It's the ones who can endure, the ones who can stand in the face of chaos and hold their ground, the ones who can take hit after hit and still move forward, even when every bone in their body screams to stop. That's who wins. Because endurance isn't just physical, it's mental. It's emotional. It's the willpower to keep going when the odds are stacked against you, when the world tells you it's over, when every rational thought tells you to give up. Endurance is the product of a mindset that refuses to accept defeat. A mindset that knows there's always another move, another angle, another way forward. And you have that in you. Don't doubt it. Don't let the whispers of weakness cloud your vision. Don't let the weight of the past make you believe you're not enough. Because the truth is, every scar, every failure, every moment of pain, it's all part of your story. And it's not a story of defeat. It's a story of resilience, of power, of becoming something greater than anyone ever thought possible. So don't hide from your pain. Don't run from it. Face it. Embrace it. Let it sharpen you, harden you, mold you into the person you were always meant to be. Because pain isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It shows you what you're capable of. It reveals your strength. It uncovers the fire inside you that refuses to be extinguished. And that fire, that's your weapon. It's what sets you apart. It's what drives you when others fall. It's what keeps you going when the path ahead is dark, uncertain, and filled with obstacles. That fire is what fuels your mindset, what keeps it sharp, unrelenting, and indestructible. And as long as you keep it burning, there's nothing you can't face. But don't be mistaken, this isn't a journey with an end. There's no finish line, no moment when you've made it, and the fight is over. Life doesn't work like that. There will always be challenges. There will always be battles. There will always be something trying to pull you down. And that's okay, because you've learned to love the fight. You've learned to thrive in the struggle. You've learned that every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to prove yourself, to rise even higher. That's the beauty of it all. The struggle doesn't end, it transforms. What once felt impossible becomes your warm-up. What once seemed unbearable becomes your fuel. What once scared you becomes the very thing you seek out, because you know that's where growth lives. That's where strength is built. So let the world throw what it wants at you. Let it test you. Let it challenge you, because you've already decided no matter what comes, you're not breaking. You're not folding. You're not quitting. Your mindset is your armor, your fire, your weapon, and it will carry you through every storm, every battle, every dark night. And when you stand tall, battered but unbroken, you'll look back and realize something incredible. It was never about the destination. It was never about the goals, the achievements, the victories. It was about the journey. About becoming the person who could endure it all, who could face it all, who could rise above it all. That's who you are now. That's who you've always been. And that's who you'll continue to be, no matter what lies ahead, because you've mastered the only thing that truly matters, the only thing that no one can take from you. Your mind. And when you've mastered your mind, the world changes. Not because the world itself is different, but because you are. What used to feel heavy now feels manageable. What once seemed overwhelming now feels like another step on the path. The doubts that once screamed in your head are silenced, replaced by a quiet, unshakable confidence. You'll begin to see things clearly. You'll understand that most of life's limitations are illusions, walls built by fear, by insecurity, by the whispers of others who couldn't see beyond their own failures. But you'll see through them. You'll realize that the walls were never real, that the cage you thought held you back was built by your own mind. And now you've shattered it. The world will try to test you again, of course. It will push back harder, throwing new challenges, bigger obstacles, harsher storms. But the thing about storms is, they pass. And the thing about those who master their minds is, they don't break, they don't falter, they don't retreat. They stand firm, like a lighthouse in the chaos, unmovable and steady, guiding their own way forward. That's what it means to truly live. Not to float through life at the mercy of the tides, but to sail with purpose, with direction, with the kind of determination that bends even the fiercest waves to your will. And here's the truth about those who choose this path, who decide to wield their mindset like a blade. They inspire others. They light fires in those around them. Because when people see someone who refuses to quit, someone who faces the darkness with a smirk and keeps walking forward, it's impossible not to be moved. But don't misunderstand, this isn't about being admired. It's not about recognition or applause. It's about legacy. It's about the mark you leave on this world, not through the things you've achieved, but through the strength you've shown, the battles you've fought, and the lives you've touched along the way. Because true strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to shout, to brag, to demand attention. It's quiet, resolute, and undeniable. It's the kind of strength that commands respect without asking for it, that inspires others without trying to. It's the kind of strength that only comes from within. And you've built that strength. You've earned it. Not through shortcuts, not through luck, but through the grit and grind of facing life head-on. Through the sleepless nights, the endless battles, the moments when you felt like giving up but didn't. That strength is yours now, unshakable and eternal. So, what do you do with it? You use it. You don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just make it through the day, you dominate it. You don't just dream, you act. Because dreams without action are just wishes, and you've left wishing behind. Now, you're a doer, a fighter, a force to be reckoned with. And as you move forward, remember this life will always try to test your resolve. It will try to pull you back into the shadows, into doubt, into fear. But now you know better. You've seen what's possible when you master your mind. You've felt the power that comes from unshakable belief, from relentless determination, from the refusal to let anything break you. So let the world try. Let it throw its worst at you. Let it test you, challenge you, push you to your limits. Because now you know you don't have limits. You've already decided. You can't lose. And when the day comes, when you look back on your journey, you won't see a life that was easy, smooth, or perfect. You'll see a life that was hard fought, full of trials, pain, and sacrifice. But you'll also see a life of growth, of triumph, of unrelenting strength. And that, more than anything, is what it means to truly live. To face the fire, to endure the storm, to rise above it all, not because it was easy, but because you chose to, because you refused to be defeated, because you mastered your mind, and in doing so mastered your life. So go, live that life, fight those battles, stand tall in the face of every challenge, and when the world looks at you, let it see what it means to be unbreakable. Let it see what it means to have a mind that's not just strong, but unstoppable. Let it see that no matter what comes your way, you'll never back down. Because you've chosen the path of mastery, the path of resilience, the path of true strength. This is your time, your journey, your legacy. Make it count. And when you wake up each day, remind yourself of this: your mind is your fortress, and nothing can penetrate it unless you allow it. The doubts, the fears, the whispers of failure, they're only as strong as the power you give them. But you've built something stronger, something untouchable. You've crafted a mindset that stands like iron against the storm, unyielding in the face of chaos. You've chosen to be the master of your own thoughts, and that makes you unstoppable. Every decision you make, every step you take, carries the weight of that power. You don't hesitate, you don't flinch, and you don't bow to the pressures of the world. Instead, you rise above it, carving your path with relentless precision. And as you move forward, remember, it's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Because those who master their minds are not the ones who never fall, but the ones who never fail to rise again. This is who you are, and this is the life you are meant to live.